Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be sharing with you my bullet journal setup for the month of March 2019. This month I chose the jellyfish as my theme. As you should know, my theme for this whole year is the sea, and each month has an object or an animal from the sea. And for this month I also decided to do a quote page, and the quote I chose was, "Be the girl who decided to go for it." Because in life, sometimes we have to take very hard decisions and just go for things, even though we don't know if it's gonna work or not. And as I did for the last 2 months, I'm also doing a cover page. And for this cover page, I do the basic setup layout that I did in the usual months, and I also added the jellyfish drawings, which are 3 jellyfish, and the quote page also has a jellyfish. If you guys are wondering, I'm going to paint these jellyfish, but it's going to be at the end of the video because it takes a lot of time, so I always paint at the end of every bullet journal if I have time. Otherwise, I just leave it black and white. For the monthly spread, I decided to go for a shorter version of it, and you might notice that I didn't include the 31st of March. That's because I got a little bit confused and forgot about it, but I'll be adding it at the end. I did not film that part, but just so you know, I actually remembered it at the end. Anyway, I also decided to, instead of doing the normal grid, I wanted to do a little bit of a different grid and add details to it. So instead of doing a single line, I'm doing a couple of lines, and then when the lines joined, I do little diamonds. I am also drawing another jellyfish on this page, and again, because I did a little bit of a shorter version of the monthly spread, I didn't have a lot of space to draw, so I just did a small drawing at the end of the page. And this month I'm actually going back to college, so I have to have a study plan, which I'm doing right now. And the study plan, I'm going to complete it after because I don't have all of my classes right now. So first I'll just get started with that and then sort it out. And as always, I also have my habit tracker. Again, I really like the setup I did for the last month, so I'm repeating it, and I'll be just adding a little bit of color to make it more interesting. Well, basically, I really like this setup for now, and it's really simple, just easy to do. And that's it. I like it. That's why I repeat it every single month. And as you may notice, my habits are still the same from last month because I think this set of habits is very good, and I really want to accomplish repeating them most of the time. And again, because I'll be returning to college, I need a study routine, and this is actually a study tracker where I'll put the hours I spend studying each day of the month. And again, I forgot the 31st, but I'll be adding it after. And I'm actually going to use my marker to set up the hours. That's why I did the thing with the marker. Now for the meal planner, again, this was not a very helpful page last month, even though I really wanted it to be. I am not very good at planning my meals yet, but this month I'm really focusing on that, I promise. And I'll make better use of it, and hopefully I'll get a little bit healthier and fit. And I also put some color on the 15th of March because this is the middle of the month, and I want to see how well I'm doing at the middle of the month. Now for the expense tracker, I did a simpler setup because I didn't like last month's setup. It looked a little too full of things, so I just simplified it. And again, for this weekly setup, the weekly spreads, I really liked the ones from last month, and it was simple and occupied less space on the pages, so I decided to go for it again. But since this month is started with only 3 days for the first week, which is week 9 of the year, I decided to add a little drawing on the top of the page, not only to make it more interesting, but also to fill up the space that was free because of these days. And just added the week 10 to the next page. And I do that for the next few pages. I personally think this way is better because even though I have less space to write stuff, I don't actually have a lot of stuff to write. So occupying two pages for each week is actually a waste of space because I don't write that much on each day. So basically, I just decided that I didn't want to waste all the space I was wasting before. Anyway, now I'm going to show my painting process of the bullet journal. I'll be painting all the jellyfish I drew before. I'm not sure how to say that. Anyway, I'm using watercolor pencils from Faber-Castell. I don't know how to pronounce that either in English. Anyway, the first jellyfish will be blue, and I actually did use some reference pictures. So if you're going to draw for your bullet journal or for anything in general, it's very helpful to use reference pictures. Even though you might think, oh no, I need to be a better artist, I need to be more original, don't think about that because really you only learn with references, so don't hold back on that. Now I'm adding water, and for colors I want to be brighter or to appear more, I actually put water directly into the pencil and then I put the color directly into the paper. This way the color shows better and it doesn't get so diffused. If you guys want to learn more about this technique, I can do a separate video about it. And also, if you guys want me to show a little slower the process of this specific bullet journal, I can also do that in another video. Just ask me on the comments and I'll do it. And I wanted to create a contrast between the cover page and the quote page. That's why I'm choosing warm colors for this set of jellyfish, and for the other jellyfish I actually did only blue. This way, when you look back at it, you see a bigger contrast between the two pages. I think it looks nicer this way. And again, don't be scared of adding more details with the pen if you forgot something or if you think it doesn't look as nice as it could possibly be. So you can always go back and add a little bit of pen details and a little bit more color. To add a little bit more of interest, I also added some dots of colors around the jellyfish because it looks nice and I don't know, I just liked it. For this set of jellyfish, I actually only used cold colors like blue and green because it gives a little bit of softness to the page overall. And you can see I actually added a little bit of yellow, but it's because green turns into yellow when it goes lighter. That's why it goes along well with blue and green. And I also added some ghost detailings with the light blue. And again, some bits of color with darker blue around the jellyfish. For the smaller one, I chose a simpler palette of colors because again, it's much smaller and it doesn't you usually won't pay a lot of attention to it. So I just thought, well, I can make it simple, why not? Now for the last two jellyfish, again I wanted to create a little bit of contrast and interest to the page. So the first and biggest jellyfish I did in warm colors like orange, red, yellow, and a tiny bit of purple and dark red. These colors are complementary, and the darkest ones and the purple work as the shadows, while the light ones work as the light sources. So it's very important to balance your colors. So choose your palettes with colors that are complementary. And also, because I wanted to create a little bit of contrast, I also added a little bit of blue to some of the, what's the name? It's not tentacles. Anyway, the lines. And for the, and again, don't be afraid of adding more detail in pen, because sometimes you make a drawing and then once you start painting you see you don't have enough details. So just go ahead and add as much details as you want to your drawings. It always looks better. Moving on to the next jellyfish, again because I wanted to create some contrast, I chose cold colors for this jellyfish, and I wanted to bring a darker set of colors to it as well to create again more contrast. And at first I was just going to do a couple of lines at the bottom of the jellyfish, but once I painted it I thought it looked strange, so I actually decided to keep going and drawing a little bit of again I don't know the name, tentacles. And overall I think it looks better than just doing lines at the bottom of it. And it also, I didn't film me drawing the bottom of it because the camera setup was a little bit off, because at first I was just going to draw lines, but then again at the end of this video I'll show the whole setup so you can see better. And if you have any questions about any drawing process or painting process, just comment down below and I will answer as best as I can. Now I'm going to make a little flip through this month's setup. This is the cover page and the quote page. Again, lots of contrast and very interesting. Next we have the monthly spreads and the study plan. And then habit tracker and study tracker. New planner and expense tracker. And you can see a little bit of color behind the page, but that's because the page is still wet. Once it dries it will look better. And this is my favorite page because it has so much interest and so much color, and I think it looks very beautiful and very interesting. The next pages don't actually have any drawings, but again that's because of lack of space. But I think overall I really liked this month's setup. And if you did as well, please leave your like and comment down below what you thought about it. If you like this kind of video, make sure to check out my channel and my other videos and subscribe, because this month, no actually in March I'll be posting every single day. So just subscribe and tag along. Goodbye.